everyone, my name is Barbara. A little background about me. I am 34 years old. I'm a mother of 3. I have braces. I do a lot of community work. I'm on the board for the Little League. I coach soccer, basketball, softball, basically anything that my children are involved with, I'm usually involved with. We also do 4-H and raise turkeys. Now, recently, the reason I'm doing this is because I was diagnosed with stage 2 ductal carcinoma breast cancer. And I understand that breast cancer nowadays is beatable, but this is something that I never thought would happen to me. Nor did I think that I would have to do this in my family. No one in my family has ever had breast cancer. So this is completely new, and it came up at such a young age that the doctors are not quite sure why. I have 3 kids. My oldest is Madison, she's 11. I have a son named Logan, who's 9. And I have a little 4-year-old named Raylan. She's definitely the crazy one, and you'll probably see her pop up in these videos. My thought in this whole channel is to bring awareness for those that may not be of age to go get mammograms or ultrasounds or even check to see if they have a lump. You always hear about giving self-exams, stuff like that. Well, as a big-breasted woman, I'm a double D, and I always, when I take off my bra, I don't know about any of you, but it feels good to just take off your bra. And so I always just kind of massage and, didn't ever expect to find anything. It was kind of an accident. I had gotten home from my daughter's softball practice, took my bra off, and went, that doesn't feel right. And it wasn't there when I put the bra on, because I'm one that has to, lift them up and put them in there. So it was very confusing to me. So I called my mom, I had my husband check, and my husband and I have been together for 14 years. We have been married for 12. We got together when we were 19 and 20. So, he was like, that doesn't feel normal. So a couple days later, I got into my primary care doctor. And those of you familiar with the medical field nowadays, you have to have referrals for everything. So I went into him and he says, well, you kind of have something similar on the other side, so I don't think it is anything to worry about. But because you're 34, you've never felt it before, we're going to go ahead and do a mammogram. Now, for those of you who have never had a mammogram, they're not fun, especially when you have a lump on your breast that has pain in it a lot. So they put your boobs in a little machine and they squeeze them and they rotate it and they take all sorts of pictures. So then they said, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take you to ultrasound. So I was a little confused. I had only been told about the mammogram. So then I go into ultrasound. The lady does her thing. She takes her pictures. She brings my husband back. She tells my husband the doctor is going to come in. And he's going to look for himself. And then he's going to let you know about the results. So you'll kind of have an idea of what's going on before you leave here. Well, a few minutes later, she comes back and says the doctor doesn't need to come in anymore. He's seen enough. So my husband and I are thinking, oh, okay, well, that can't be bad news, right? Well, the radiologist comes in and says, I don't know how to say this, but you have cancer. The mass on your breast is too large, and it doesn't look normal, and I've been doing this a long time. So I just kind of sat there with my purse in my lap. I kind of just stared at him, looking back at my husband, looking at the nurse. I didn't really know what to say. And then, luckily, my husband was there because he got the information for me. And he, said, do you have any questions? And I said, no, I'm so sorry. I need to get out of here. And I took out through the door, bolted out, and just immediately started crying. So I call my mom, and I'm just complete hysterics. And my mom's like, well, no, it can't be cancer. You won't know until they do a biopsy. So we kind of already had an idea of what it was going to be. But we did the biopsy the next week. The biopsy sucked because then after they poke a hole and pull tissue out of your breast into the lump, they now have to take a picture again in that mammogram machine. So you have an open hole. You can actually kind of see the scar right there. An open hole that has to heal before you can, go on to anything else. It's right there. So that hole bled for 3 days. then I was able to shower. Then the next week, the results came in. And the doctor called right away, got us in. So we were a little worried on how quick he wanted to see us after the results came in. And sure enough, he says, your cancer is something called ductal carcinoma. But we don't know how far along it is. There's really nothing more I can tell you. Your oncologist will give you more information. So we're going to refer you to an oncologist and a surgeon. Well, a week later, I go to the oncologist. The oncologist says, we need more pictures because they didn't necessarily get everywhere. We need to make sure the cancer hasn't spread. At that point, the cancer had gone from 3 centimeters to 3.5 centimeters. And so the doctor was very worried, and she was like, you need to get these tests done now. And so they decided they're going to do genetic testing because there's no history, so we don't know why. And then another mammogram and another ultrasound and a chest, a CT scan, a PET scan, a MAGA test to test my heart, to make sure I can withhold chemo, and we're going to start chemo right away. Well, a week goes by, and I go back to her after 10 days, and nothing had been started. I had only received one referral call, and it was for the genetic counseling, which was an over-the-phone thing. And there's no history in my family, so it's pretty simple. It makes no sense. So then they push everything through. So today we did what's called the MAGA exam. So what that is they take they put an IV in, they take a little bit of my blood out, they mix it with radioactive material, let it set for 20 minutes, then put it back in me, and then put me in this machine where I have to stay completely still for 30 minutes while it takes pictures of my heart pumping to make sure that my heart is strong enough to withhold chemo. Well, the good news is that it is strong enough, but the doctor will give me more results when I see her next week. Now, tomorrow I get what's called a chemo port. The chemo port goes under my skin, and it's a permanent factor that's going to be there for the next 6 chemo treatments. From what my understanding, we're going to do 2 to 3, and then we're going to have it removed, and then we're going to do the final 3 to 4, depending on how fast it shrinks. So it's going to be a total of 6 chemo treatments. And in that time, we're going to have to decide if we're going to completely remove my breast. We're just going to take the lump out. They've told me that I have about a 90% chance of losing my hair, and I have ridiculously long curly hair. So that's going to be fun. They also have said that chemo is going to make me ridiculously sick, that I can't be around my kids if they're sick. This journey has been very, very stressful. It's been very quick. And my thoughts is that if I can educate others on what I'm going through, hopefully others will be able to catch it as quickly as I did. It's my understanding that this particular cancer does not get caught as early as I caught it. It doesn't usually get caught till it's spread. So this is a very lucky case, I guess. It's still scary. It's still not something I ever thought I'd have to go through, nor is it something I would wish on anybody. So if you have any questions, comments, I will answer them to the best of my ability, or get answers from doctors, techs, nurses, friends, family, however I need to do this to help other people out. That is the whole point of this. Please, no negative comments. There's already enough negativity around my life right now because of all of this. And if you have any questions, let me know. Talk to you later.